boys will be boys. Time and time again, girls of all ages have had these words spoken to them. My first thought when I would hear this, why can't I just be a girl? Why, when I do the same things as boys, is it looked down upon? Is there a reason as to why it has become normalized in society for girls to be the rule followers? Why do I have to sit with my legs crossed, making myself smaller? Why can't I freely walk in a big city without having a constant feeling pulsing through my body, telling me that I'm not safe? That I have to constantly look over my shoulder in fear that something may happen to me? Why are girls forced to cover and hide their bodies in public areas when those same people who are telling them to do so are the ones who later advocate for freedom of self-expression? Girls always ask themselves, why must we go through all of this? And I have one answer: we shouldn't have to. And yet, in the world that we're growing up in today, girls and women are being forced to make themselves smaller. In fear of their safety being put at risk, girls are sacrificing their freedom. It has become the societal norm for girls to subconsciously grow up with these thoughts. People around us will tell us that it's fine. Deal with it. It'll get better. But how? When? If no one is working to stop this, if this shadow is looming over us wherever we go, how exactly are we supposed to escape it? These questions were always surrounding me as I was growing up, but I really began to question a girl's place in the world when those fears became real. A few summers ago, I'd gone to Europe with my mom. Both my mom and I were walking in the city like many others were, and it was a lively night, with a busy pedestrian-filled bridge and the mood of the area set with a few street musicians playing and people gathered around them having a good time. Both my mom and I were recording the scenery, a pretty sunset on one side and the musicians on the other. As I stop recording and I'm turning back towards my mom, I suddenly see a tall, unfamiliar man standing too close for comfort behind her. I begin to say, "Mom, there's someone behind you," but I didn't get the chance to finish. He suddenly reaches over her shoulder, hits her hand, knocks her phone into the middle of the street, completely uncalled for, and instituting a fear within us that followed us for the rest of the night. While the interaction in itself was a moment of uncertainty and worry, it was the reaction of the public that got me. Men and women looked at us and continued walking the other way. Not one person stopped to ask if we were okay. In fear of what? I can unfortunately never give a definitive answer, but the way I felt in that moment was unlike any other. I felt so open and unprotected, like I couldn't defend myself if that man were ever to do anything worse. Ever since then, I have never been able to walk the streets of a city the same way. I remained scared and unsure, and in those few seconds, I was taught a lesson that many girls are taught far too early: to move through the world cautiously instead with confidence, to sacrifice their freedom for fear. Moments and experiences like the one I went through are how this social hierarchy that we see today is taught. Girls aren't born with fear, but rather, they're taught it. Words, warnings, and even silence become a lesson that slowly normalizes this fear within girls so they can protect their dignity and self-worth. Over time, I came to learn that this feeling wasn't unique to me. Everywhere around the world, girls experience the same thoughts and fears. But this fear isn't just something in our minds. It's something that impacts the real world. It shapes where girls feel safe going, what careers they feel comfortable pursuing, and even can impact how seriously they're taken. As girls are growing up, being taught to make themselves smaller isn't just a lesson that they slowly forget over time. It's something that they grow up with and take with them into adulthood. It can be seen in the workplace, for example, somewhere where women are less likely to be taken seriously. And even when they do, they're more likely to be dismissed for being quote-unquote too emotional rather than actually be listened to. Even today, women around the world earn less than men despite the fact that they're completing the same work. not because of lack of ability, but rather because confidence is rewarded differently depending on who feels comfortable showing it. It can start even earlier than the workplace, though. In classrooms, girls are more likely to be praised for being quiet and compliant, while boys are encouraged to speak up, take risks, and lead, even when they make mistakes. This pressure doesn't just affect women socially, but also physically in terms of health. Constant fear can contribute to more severe conditions such as anxiety, depression, and even trauma. And even when women do feel comfortable seeking help, they're often dismissed. They're told their pain is normal, it's all in their head, or even that it's stress-related. And this isn't limited to just one city, culture, or single country. Around the world, girls face barriers in laws, traditions, and expectations, all of which are different, but are still fueled by the same root cause, that their freedom should be sacrificed. These teachings were instituted by humanity into the world. If these lessons were created by society, then they can also be questioned and even rewritten. And that's exactly what this is, a blueprint, a unique term that implies that the original model can be changed. It isn't permanent, but it can instead be seen as a starting point, something that allows for adjustments and revisions to be made, big or small, that can redesign the final outcome. Girls today have been given a blueprint, one that teaches them to be careful instead of confident, to hide rather than stand strong, and to remain silent in the moments that they must speak the loudest. Our silence doesn't just shape girls, it shapes boys, men, and the expectations placed on all of us, shaping everyone's given roles. Women don't have to be reduced to caretakers, and men don't have to consistently suppress their emotions in fear of judgment. If we work together, we can combine these traditional roles into something new, move beyond what we know, and go somewhere unexplored, but doing it all together and not alone. Instead of continuing to teach this fear, we can change our actions. Girls can be confident, and the world around them can learn how to support that confidence. Blueprints aren't something set in stone, they're decisions, and decisions are something that can be changed. If fear is something that we're taught, then it can be replaced with something more empowering. But the only way that this can happen is if we work together to create something new. We can work collectively to make this the new normal so the girls growing up tomorrow don't have to wonder why they were taught to make themselves smaller in the first place. Because these girls deserve a world that teaches confidence, not fear. One with freedom and not judgment. The question isn't if we can make this change, it's if we're willing to make a difference for the generation that follows us. Thank you.